So I just want to recap one more time the likely effects of higher temperatures on Earth. So due to us using more fossil fuels and other human activities that are necessary in some ways, such as livestock and agriculture for growing plants, and many factories that build a lot of items that we need, um, we are increasing the amount of different greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, trapping more of the sun's radiation, causing higher temperatures. One of the likely effects, again, was the melting of the polar ice caps and other areas covered in ice, like Greenland. Due to that melting, we are seeing rising sea levels. Rising sea levels mean some coastal areas may not exist one day as they will be flooded out. Something to take into consideration in terms of finding alternative energy. Let's see. Likely effects would harm other organisms besides us. So, for example, again, polar bears that rely on the ice as places to rest while they're hunting for food in the water. If they do not have areas to rest, they one day will not be able to survive since they will not have a habitat. Less ice also means that we're going to see a higher amount um, of radiation being trapped by the water. So ice usually radiates more of the radiation back into space. It acts like a shield for Earth. So as the ice is melting, the water that was once the ice is now absorbing more of the energy from the sun. The more that water is absorbing the energy and heat of the sun, the more that the ice is melting. It's almost like a vicious cycle here. That melting ice causing more heat to get trapped by Earth as well, not just the atmosphere, but the water. Rising water temperatures can cause the coral reefs to die again. As we're seeing here, they are very complex communities. They are reliant on certain types of algae. As those algae die due to the higher temperatures, the coral reefs become bleached as more and more organisms that rely on them die. And we're also seeing stronger storms in some areas, such as hurricanes. Remember from the water cycle, as evaporation happens, the water vapor rises into the atmosphere and cools, and when the water vapor cools and condenses, we get storms. The more evaporation, the stronger the storms that we're seeing. However, that's not the only effect. So, the more evaporation we're seeing for some areas, the more we're seeing drought in some areas. This can be a negative for people who grow plants for a living, such as food. If they see high droughts, they are going to be less successful at growing food for people, so people will go hungry. People not make the money that they're able to or have been able to off of growing plants. Just another thing to take into consideration besides the stronger storms that other areas are seeing. Areas that are seeing the stronger storms also, due to the increased evaporation of water from the higher temperatures of Earth, means that there's flooding. Now, flooding could destroy neighborhoods and homes, and this will lead people to not want to live in these areas anymore. These extremes will affect how people live. Due to also the change in temperature, we may see some more extreme cold winters, some more extreme hotter summers. We've seen a lot of the hottest summers on record in recent years. We've also seen some extreme cold in some winters recently. We also may one day see a longer hurricane season. The hurricane season usually does not start until right before the summer and runs through, I believe, November. We may end up seeing longer seasons for that as well. What you're going to do today is you're going to do the first two tasks of this web quest. So just to take into account, this is what we're going to see. Oh boy. So can't change the size of this window anymore, but what you're going to see is the following. So you're going to have a set of websites here, and then you're going to have questions. The website that you're going to use is the following. So you're going to click on this. There are two URLs. One's just a tiny, one's the full URL. You may be asked to use your Adobe Flash. If that's an issue, please let me know. The first question is actually asking what is the global temperature when greenhouse levels are set at their highest. So on this website, you would set the greenhouse levels on their highest, and you'll see that the temperature is much too hot. You'll be asked to be asked to hover your mouse over certain areas of this document to understand different parts, and then you'll just go through the first 4 questions. And then for task 2, you're going to click on this URL. It's a YouTube video that you're going to use to answer questions 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
Do you know the gases?
So if there are any questions, please leave a public or a private comments. If it's something that everybody can benefit from, you can leave a private comments. A public comment if something very more about your grade. Again, private comments are fine, emails, etc. I hope that was helpful. Thank you, and have a good day.